Okay, we are live. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So today we have, today the date is February 27th, 2025. The time is 10:48 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is time at my side of the world. It's in the morning. I'm presuming you are based in Pakistan, right?
Yes, sir.
So Abdullah, Muhammad Abdullah Khan is based in Pakistan, and the time should be 8:48 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time, right?
Yes, sir.
Roughly, right? Okay. Uh, the presentation you have is based on RQF level 6. Okay. The presentation topic is pretty interesting and very demanding. Designing a resilient and secure AI-driven microservices architecture on AWS and Azure. There's an overview of the exam, objectives, key areas of focus, and examination format. That is what I'm going to stick to. You'll be given 15 minutes minimum, maximum 25 minutes to go through your presentation. After your presentation is done, then I will have a series of questions to see your in-depth understanding of the topic as per the exam core objectives. Okay.
Okay, sir.
You may share your screen. Everyone uses Canva, like it's a good tool because it makes things easier. My son, he uses Canva for his presentation. He has a science project today. Uh, and normally every year I go to the school to act as a judge, but today I didn't went there because the exam was already scheduled, right? So I didn't cancel the scheduled exam just to be a judge at the school fair, science fair, even though I can't evaluate my son project, right? Because of conflict of interest. That's why other people do that. But I always go there in the school and ask the kids about what they're doing, what is their project, so on and so forth, right? So last year, my son won once he started going to school. He started going to school last year, since last year. This is his second year at the school. So last year, he won the science competition, mashallah, and my daughter as well, both of them in their grades. This time, my son has his exhibition, science exhibition today, and my daughter, inshallah, will be after Ramadan in April, right? So I really wanted to go there, but because of your exam, I will be with you, right? Uh, you will have, make sure that you have a stable internet connection. Make sure that you go through the presentation, take your time, don't rush, don't go slow, maintain a moderate pace, inshallah. Keep some water with you. Once we start the Q&A session, if you do not understand any question, ask me, and I will be able to explain to you the question further, inshallah. Okay? All right.
Can I start?
Yes, Bismillah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Muhammad Abdullah. Today I will be presenting on designing a resilient and secure AI-driven microservice architecture on AWS and Azure. In this presentation, we will explore how we can leverage cloud-native tools to build our secure and scalable microservice architecture. Here is the agenda of today's presentation. Firstly, I will introduce the concept of microservices. Then we will follow deployment strategies followed by AI-powered observability and security best practices. Finally, we will also cover some GRC strategies for automating compliance and logging to satisfy legal requirements. Let's move with our first slide, which is Introduction to Resilient and Secure Microservice Architecture. Before this, I want to explain what actually a microservice architecture. As you know, before microservice architecture, we have a monolithic approach in which we deploy an application as a single source of code. But in microservice architecture, we divide a large application into smaller independent services that are easy to maintain and scale. However, achieving resilience, security, and scalability may require a solid design. As you can see in my presentation, I am talking about importance of resilience, security, and scalability, why these terms are so important to design our microservice architecture. Resilience ensures that our systems remain uptime despite of any failure. Security protects our sensitive data from any cyber threats, and scalability allows us to dynamically adapt resources based on traffic patterns. As you know, I will deploy our this microservice architecture on AWS and Azure. So it is important for us to know that does AWS and Azure support resilience, security, and scalability? Yes, absolutely, they support resilience, security, and scalability because they provide us a variety of services. By leveraging correct services, we can easily achieve resilience, security, and scalability in our cloud environment. Now let's deploy our this microservice architecture on Kubernetes cluster. Both AWS EKS and Azure AKS provide managed services that simplify deployment and managing application. These services also handle some operational tasks like rolling updates and backups to reduce a burden on a DevOps team. The key benefits of deploying these microservices on EKS and AKS are that they offer reliability by ensuring continuous uptime. They are flexible. Flexibility means that they can easily integrate with serverless as well as containerized workflow. And they also provide us a scalability to scale resources smoothly in response to traffic patterns. Now here comes a one question to us: why we choose EKS and Azure AKS? We chose EKS and Azure AKS instead of other platforms because it does not just simplify the cluster management, but it also provides us a cost efficiency through their paper execution model, as we only pay for what we use. And it also provides us security built-in features like IAM and Azure AD for securing access controls. In addition to Kubernetes clusters, serverless solutions like AWS Lambda and Azure Function are also perfect for handling those tasks that don't require a long running services. Why use serverless architecture? Uh, Using of serverless architecture includes some key benefits, which are cost saving through their paper execution model and automatic scaling, which means that it automatically scale resources to handle burst of traffic seamlessly. Serverless solutions like AWS Lambda and Azure Function can also respond to event-driven architectures, like it can respond to events such as HTTP requests or data changes without requiring any dedicated server. As you can see in my presentation that in previous slides we discussed about how we can deploy our microservices on platform like EKS, AKS for containerized workflow, as well as we also discussed serverless architecture for handling event-driven tasks. To manage all these deployments efficiently, CI/CD plays a very critical role. For this, we have CI/CD tools like Jenkins, AWS Code Pipeline, and Azure DevOps. These CI/CD tools streamline the deployment process by enabling quicker iteration and feature releases. The benefits of CI/CD automations are undeniable. With CI/CD automation, team can confidently deploy their applications on EKS, AKS, and serverless platforms by ensuring consistent delivery and faster delivery and robust performance management. One major benefit of CI/CD automation is that it reduces error. How it reduces it? Reduces error through their automated testing process. Let's take it a step further with GitOps. GitOps combine the power of version control with automation, deployment, and ensure that all changes are tracked directly in a Git. By implementing tools like Argo CD and Flex, we can manage changes from infrastructure to configurations to deployment. This means that every change made from configuration to deployment is made directly in a Git, and it automatically applied to the target environment. As you know, GitOps is a modern approach that uses Git as a single source of truth. With Git as a single source of truth means that it stores all configuration and changes, maintain all changes as a version control in Git environment, through which we can easily monitor what changed when and by whom. Following other some GitOps principle, that is declarative approach, versioned and immutable, pulled automatically and continuously reconciled. As continuously reconciled allows us that GitOps operator have a desired state. It compares this desired state to our EKS cluster to maintain accountability. AI-powered observability tools. In today's dynamic IT world, as you know, maintaining app performance and reliability is very important. As we have traditional monitoring tools are often fall short in these complex environments. So for this, we have AI-powered observability tools. AI-powered observability tools are essential for monitoring app performance and reliability. Tools like AWS DevOps Guru and Azure Monitor help us. It utilizes machine learning algorithm to analyze logs and matrices. These tools does not just analyze logs and matrices, but it also provides us actionable insights into performance issues. Uh, these tools like AWS DevOps Guru and Azure Monitor enables predictive analysis and anomaly detection by helping team to ensure performance management and identify issues before they affect user. With these tools, team can shift from problem solving to proactive performance management by ensuring user experience and operational efficiency. In modern distributed system, understanding how request flows through our microservice architecture is very important. Distributed tracing is vital for understanding our microservices interactions. For distributed tracing, we have tools in cloud platform like AWS X-Ray and Azure Application Insight. AWS X-Ray and Azure Application Insight help us to visualize request flow and performance and provide us a performance bottleneck. What are the benefits of using distributed tracing? The benefits of tracing includes it improves issue tracking by quickly pinpointing the root cause in interdependent systems. It helps us in identifying latency. It helps us to ensure that where latency occurs in our microservice architecture. It also provides us service dependency analysis. As you know, distributed tracing is no longer optional in our microservice architecture because it helps team to maintain reliable performance management of application by providing complete insights of our microservice architecture. Security for microservices. One common argument that rises among people nowadays related to microservices is that it increases security risk by expanding risk surface. It may be true in the sense that when we have more microservices, we have to protect each microservice from external consumer, but that does not stop us from implementing microservice architecture. Security is cornerstone of microservice architecture because services and data are distributed among multiple services, so we have to protect each service and data from external attack. For this security concern, we have tools like AWS IAM and Azure AD, which help us to ensure that only the right people have access to the data, and it also reduces the security risk. We can also protect our data while it is in transit or stored by using encryption tools like AWS KMS and Azure Key Vault services. And cloud platform also provide some services like AWS Shield and Azure Security Center, which also help us to protect our microservice architecture from external attacks like DOS attacks, etc. By implementing all these key considerations, we can achieve security in our microservice architecture very easily. Automating compliance with AWS and Azure. Automating compliance with AWS and Azure simplifies adhering to regulations by utilizing tools like AWS config and Azure policy to monitor and for enforcing compliance with regulation in real time and ensuring security and governance are always maintained in our cloud environments. Auditing and logging. Auditing and logging are essential for ensuring compliance, tracking changes, and maintain accountability in our cloud environment. For this, we have services like AWS CloudTrail and Azure Activity Logs. AWS CloudTrail logs every API call in our AWS account, and it provides us a detailed overview of our API changes, resource changes, etc. Similarly, Azure activity logs work. It also capture all the log activities in Azure environment. Now, what are the importance of maintaining these records? Keeping a detailed record by auditing and logging helps organization to prove they are compliant to regulations. It helps in for conducting forensic investigation. It also helps them to mitigate risk when any risk occurred. With these tools, organization can ensure transparency. It helps them to maintain trust and confidentially meet compliance requirements and also be prepared for any future incident. In the last, here is my architecture diagram, how we can deploy our microservice architecture in our AWS cloud. As you can see in my architecture diagram, I have implemented CI/CD automation. Then after this, our application deploy in our AKS cluster, and all the logs generated are stored in S3, then analyzed by our um, logs monitoring services. The similar architecture we can also implement for Azure by only changing our Azure services. In conclusion, organizations can achieve resilience, security, and scalability in microservice architecture by utilizing, by leveraging right tools of that provide in our cloud environments. By implementing resilience, security, and scalability in microservice architecture, organization can ensure that their architecture is compliant, regulated. Thank you. This is my presentation.
Okay, good. All right, so we're just gonna jump into the Q&A session now, inshallah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So between microservices and cloud native, Kubernetes applications, right? Explain to me, virtual machines, right? Prior to Kubernetes, virtual machines were there. They're still here. So what is a virtual machine? And like between virtual machine versus microservices, which is superior and more secure? You mentioned like some things about Kubernetes, which people have different arguments, may not be secure and stuff like that. So my question to you is this virtual machine versus microservices architecture, which is superior and more secure?
In virtual machines, we divide our systems, and which means a virtual machine consume our base OS, base hardware requirements, and in microservice architecture, we containerize each application. So microservice architecture is more superior than virtual machine because if we want to deploy a single application which requirement is not more any means that is not much higher requirements. It don't require much resources to deploy. So that's microservices. We can use microservices to provide them only that
So
resources. But
explain to me the advantages of virtual machine.
advantages of virtual machine. Advantages of virtual machine are that we can um, make multiple we can distribute our hardware to make multiple machines.
I mean, that's not an advantage, you know. One of the advantages is stronger isolation. You can isolate. Each VM operates independently from it with its own OS, right? Making it harder for the attacks to spread. That's another thing. Um, Legacy support is another one because many old operating systems are still supported by VMs, virtual machines.
Yeah.
Custom security configuration is another one, right? You can deeply configure the systems at OS level. That's a virtual machine, right? There's a difference between microservice and a virtual machine, right? Microservice operates through what?
Microservices, it operates on containerization technology.
Containerization. So typically deployed in a container. It can be Dockers, Kubernetes, it can be AWS Fargate, it can be EKS from AWS or AKS from Azure. You can allow fine-grained scaling, right? So what are the advantages of microservices?
Microservices advantages are it can scale automatically scale. It are more scalable than
Higher
virtual machine.
scalability, okay, that's one. The other one,
Uh, we can also implement security in microservice by service to service communication, implementing mutual TLS. It's also advantage of this. it is also isolated.
Okay, I mean, that's faster deployment. What else is there? Like you can embed that within the CI/CD pipeline. Do we have anything else?
Faster delivery in microservice architecture.
Sorry, what?
Faster delivery,
Faster
deployment means
deployment. Okay, yeah, faster deployment. I just mentioned that. So cost efficiency is there,
reliability.
resilience is there, all of these things, right? Okay. Um, how do microservices, what are the security risks of a microservices?
Security risks of microservices are that permissions, firstly, permissions issues, but we can mitigate by fine-grained access control, and also a security issue is
Just tell
between
me,
services
you
communication.
mentioned that in your presentation. I'm going to give you a hint. Attack surface is increased due to what?
Attack surface increases
Due to
because
exposed APIs, right?
APIs.
APIs, right? So, okay. All right. So, all right. I mean, just wanted to touch base and see how deep we have to go. From a from an isolation perspective, let's jump over here. And I'm going to ask you this question in the end, but I'm just going to put it right now. So before we jump into the other things, so do you think is Kubernetes the future of the cloud? Can you please explain to me why it will? If it is, then what makes it future of the cloud?
Sorry.
Do you think that Kubernetes, architecture, the microservices and everything, is that the future of the cloud? If it is, why?
Yes, absolutely. It is future of the cloud because it provides us multiple advantages of microservice. Like we can achieve resilience, we can achieve scalability, we can achieve uh, cost optimization more in microservice architecture than any other.
Okay, so you said orchestration, automation, hybrid and
Automate.
multi-cloud support, self-healing is another word. You may have heard it yesterday. I was talking to that person, right? Self-healing. Declarative infrastructure uses YAML files to, because that's how you manage it. Charts, Helm charts for repeatable deployments. Service mesh integration. You can mesh into the
Yes,
services quite easily, right? So yeah, I mean, it is the dominant force in cloud native applications as of right now, but it is not necessarily the ultimate future, right? Things will change, and you can write it down. AI self-aware infrastructure is going to come, and what is AI self-aware architecture? It's essentially AI is managing the application and the infrastructure in a collective effort, right? So it's much more smarter. So like we also call it the zero touch provisioning architecture, right? These are the terminologies I've coined up, so you can search on them. Uh, some of these AI models may be able to explain it to you, but not that much, right? Because these are the things in the development right now. Okay, so challenges with Kubernetes. What are the challenges?
the challenges in Kubernetes, it is difficult to manage cluster. In Kubernetes, we have to manage a cluster, and some challenges are
Complexity.
security related
So
challenges,
I only need
complexity,
three challenges. I only need three challenges. So you said, you know, you mentioned complexity, right? In a way. What else is there?
complexity, and some security challenges,
Security risks. Okay, good. Uh,
and
and
some
what else?
operational,
Operational
operational
overhead. Another one. Managing multi-cluster and Kubernetes
managing multiple.
is non-trivial. It's very difficult. We are about to get a person who's a QB astronaut, right? This is a guy who completed all the QB astronaut, QB Kubernetes exams, right? 4 or 5 exams, then you become a QB astronaut, right?
Yes,
So when I ask him the questions, he will struggle and he won't be able to answer. Passing an exam is different than passing than working in the industry, right? And that's what our own staff does internally. Security risk, misconfigured Kubernetes clusters can be exploited by what? A very common attack.
Misconfigured
Misconfigured Kubernetes clusters can be attacked by what?
DOS attack.
No, not the DOS is not the common one right now as we speak, but there are others. Uh, let me. Have you ever heard about uh, if your cluster is misconfigured, right? There's an attack which is very common. What is one thing that everyone is running after right now, which is much more expensive than the dollar itself? What do you call it?
Data.
No, no. I mean, there are different currencies, right? There's one
Yeah.
currency which one of it is around $100,000, something like that. What is that currency?
Pound.
It's a digital currency.
Digital.
Everyone is trying to buy that digital currency. What kind of digital currencies are there?
Crypto. Bitcoin.
Crypto. So one of the common things that happens, like in a misconfigured Kubernetes cluster, the major risk is crypto mining attacks,
Crypto mining
data
attacks.
exfiltration, privilege escalation, lateral movements. What happens is just like the APIs or if the APIs are not secure, then the attackers can scan for open K8s, APIs and deploy malicious workload for crypto mining, right? They also call it the Monero miners, right? Something we are experiencing right now. That's why. Okay. All right. So let's jump into some further questions. I'm going to ask you some more things in the end, which is like, different ones. All right. So explain to me, these are immutable security policies, right? In a CI/CD. Discuss, with me why traditional CI/CD pipelines, you know, pipeline security is insufficient for microservices handling sensitive data. Why is that the case?
Uh, a traditional CI/CD is not good for microservices because someone can access to our uh, means manifest file. He can make some changes into it. So also we have some permissions issue in traditional CI/CD.
So you mentioned two things. Okay, let me further explain the question. How can policy as a code and immutable security pipelines prevent drift and enforce compliance across AWS and Azure deployments? How can it do that?
Open policy agent.
Policy as a code pack. There's infrastructure as a code, there's policy as a code, there's network as a code. You embed whatever you're doing it's all in the template, right? Before you
Yes.
push that template out, everything is there, right? So there's a policy as a code. How does policy as a code and with immutable security pipeline prevent drift and enforce compliance across AWS and Azure deployments? You know what drift is?
No.
What is a
Means
drift?
anything. It prevents us.
Prevents us what? What is a configuration drift?
Configuration drift mean uh, the things we do before deployment,
Yes, yes, good. It's a changes between development, staging, production environment,
protection.
right? That can lead to insecure deployments, right? That's what I want to know. So policy as a code and immutable security pipelines, how can we prevent drift and misconfigure and enforce compliance? by using across AWS and GitOps? How can we do that?
Implement a staging and dev stage before production.
All right, let me take a step back. How does policy as a code works? What does it use?
Policy as a code, it prevents our it means that the manifest file means CI/CD pipeline that we have written that can't be changed, cannot be.
The topic is very tough, right? So have some water. I'm going to have some water as well and some coffee. You're doing good. Don't worry. I am going above and beyond. Sometimes I go above and beyond the topic scope by getting in much more higher than level 6. But this is because the academic director wants to maintain a higher integrity, right? Is he sitting here? Is Yusuf here? Is Yusuf here? No? Okay. So he wants me to, quote unquote, give you tough time, right? So don't say anything to me. Say everything to the academic operations director, okay? But don't worry. If I ask you a question which is above and beyond level 6, it is related to the topic, but it goes deeper. I'm not going to mark you. Don't worry about it, okay? All right, so, but this is part of your exam. OPA, what is OPA?
Open policy agent.
This is how we implement policy as a code, okay?
Yes.
This is very important. Pay attention. Explain to me immutable pipelines. What is it?
Immutable pipeline means that we can change.
Have you seen Mission Impossible?
No, sir.
Okay. Kind of weird. You haven't seen Mission Impossible, right? I'm going to show you something very old, right? Let me see. Hold on.
Sir, your mic is mute, I think.
I'm going to show you something, and then you have to tell me what is immutable security built into the pipelines. This is very important. This is a very important thing because you may have seen this in the movies, but I'm just asking you because this is important to me because you have to go through all of these things, right? Long ago, I've watched Mission Impossible, with my uncle, right? But like this is a clip from Mission Impossible 4. I don't know what Mission Impossible 4 is, but like the message self-destruct. That's the key. Okay, so watch.
Is to penetrate the highly secured archive inside the Kremlin and retrieve Cobalt's file before he can destroy it. New intel suggests Cobalt is already en route, leaving you
4 hours, 52 minutes.
to infiltrate. To save time, we've chosen your team for you. Agents Carter and Dunn. As always, should you or any member of your team be caught or killed, the Secretary will disavow any knowledge of your actions. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds. Good luck, Ethan.
So this is very important for you. I'm going to ask you this question again. Question is a 2.5 question mark, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you again. What is immutable pipelines in a DevSecOps environment, DevOps environment?
Uh, Immutable pipelines are those pipelines that are once written, then it cannot be changed throughout the process.
So immutable pipelines self-destruct. See that message? You left a message. That was an immutable communication. Once
Yes.
you receive it, it will be destroyed. So immutable pipelines, they self-destruct upon security failure and cannot be altered post-deployment. Do you understand? This is very important for you to understand. Because when you go into the market, you will see new concepts, new jobs, tasks that you have to perform. This is one of them.
Yes.
When I read this and I was doing it, it reminded me of self-destruct from Mission Impossible, right? I said, wait a minute. The author did this long ago in Mission Impossible, the self-destruct. So if you alter the code, the infrastructure as a code template, right? It will self-destruct and it will not allow the template to be deployed. This is very important for you to understand because you will have these kinds of issues so that if anyone commits a mistake, we stop the pipeline there and we don't push it. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to give you half a marks for this. All right. Still good. Okay. Advanced Kubernetes security, right? How would you implement per microservice firewalling in AWS EKS and Azure AKS without compromising network performance, as you have shown in your diagram, right? How would you do that?
How I can implement Firewall?
Advanced Kubernetes security, how would you implement per microservice firewalling? How would you do that?
First of all, when request comes enters through route gateway, I implement their web application firewall. Then at cluster level, I will integrate network NACs, network access controls. Then at instance level, when where microservices are deployed, there I will integrate. I will define some security groups to also define some inbound and outbound rule to don't allow some malicious traffics like that.
Okay, so you will implement ingress and egress rules per microservices, okay. And how would you enforce per pod microsegmentation?
How I can enforce per pod?
Per pod microsegmentation. These are different pods, right? How would you do that?
Through infrastructure as well.
What kind of tools would you use?
For this, I will use ingress controller, egress controller.
No, that is for the define the ingress and egress control for blocking and unauthorized traffic and stuff like that. I'm saying, how would you enforce per microsegmentation, per pod microsegmentation? What kind of tools would you use? Give me a name of a tool. There is a Calico, there's Azure CNI.
Azure CNI, Calico, and Network CNI, like
Not
that.
sure what that is. Okay, let's move on. Uh, let me ask you, the next generation, hold on. Looking at your presentation, I have to think about picking up the questions, right? So there is a secure data flow between AWS Lambda and Azure functions, right?
Yes.
This is because you have shown me in the diagram. Explain the security implications of cross-cloud event-driven microservices, particularly when AWS Lambda needs to invoke Azure functions. How would you design a secure and scalable event-driven architecture to prevent any unauthorized access to event injection or man-in-the-middle attacks? Something we have
I
done.
I can implement, firstly, I will implement fine-grained access controls to ensure no one can access lambda function to improve its security. Secondly, I will implement input validation. Any changes no one can change, enter anything. Or thirdly, I will also implement also add some securities to protect our lambda from cross scripting attacks like that. And also I will add some integrate some security tools to when our lambda function trigger, so it will also protect at that time, like Azure AWS Shield and Azure Security Center.
Yeah, I mean, event spoofing, lack of unified identity management, you can tackle that. Man in the middle attacks. That was a very tough question. MashaAllah, that's good. Good job, Muhammad Abdullah Khan. Okay, for the zero trust or security in a multi-cloud Kubernetes environment, right? There's AWS and there's Azure. They both employ Azure employ identity access management solution, AWS, and AWS does that, IAM. Azure does AD, Active Directory, right, respectively, for access control. Explain why a traditional role-based access control model, the RBAC as we call it, approach is insufficient for securing microservices running in a multi-cloud Kubernetes deployment. Why?
Because these services work more closely with least privilege principle like AWS IAM and Azure AD instead of RBAC. We can implement each user specific permissions. As in IAM, we give them permission to a user who have access to this resource. We can also implement IAM roles to means that what actions they can perform on each resources.
So assigning static permissions to roles is difficult, right? Role explosion can happen. Lack of granular context awareness is difficult, right? All of these things. Okay, I'll take that. You know, the person who scored the highest marks, Shanze, she was from UK.
Person.
She scored 95 something, 99% something, the highest, right? She was going, toe to toe with me. And some answering some very difficult questions regarding Kubernetes. She just recently passed 2 exams in Kubernetes, 1 or 2, something like that, right? So she's 18 years old and now she's going in the market, mashallah, right? She's in UK. All right, so propose to me a zero trust model for securing microservice identity verification.
For microservices,
Microservices identity verification. How would you do that?
as in zero trust model, everything it means that everything should be authenticated and authorized before they access. So microservices identification we can implement it by utilizing tools, IAM rules and policies, then to ensure that who will access this to authenticate and authorize users have access to microservice.
Okay, take that. This, emphatical identities. There's so many things going on. All right, I will take that. That's okay. It's a tough topic, right? You're on the last question. Don't worry. How are you feeling? Feeling okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, good.
All right, so this is the last question, right? Should I ask you something about quantum?
Sir, I don't idea about too much quantum.
You should watch all the interviews that happens, right? for the students. One of the students, he came up with the quantum stuff and he was able to answer all the questions. Right? It's very important for you to understand all the key things. This is going to help you out, inshallah. All right, so give me so this is a bonus question. Do you know anything about WebAssembly? WASM?
WebAssembly.
Yes, WebAssembly. This is the new thing regarding beyond the portable Dockers, portable containers, or this is the portable alternative to Docker containers, right? So allow apps to run anywhere, on anything, on a browser, cloud, edge device without full OS. And it provides better performance than containers, something that I have my team to test it out before we go and do other things, right?
Is it similar to serverless like that? WebAssembly.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the next thing which is nowadays being tested. All right, so the question I have is AI-driven autonomous cloud. This is the next evolution, right? Explain to me the future of cloud. Why are we calling AI-driven self-managing orchestration system is the future of cloud? Last question.
AI is future because as in our traditional monitoring system, like as for example, we have deployed our microservices and we implemented a traditional monitoring tool like that we called as Grafana, Prometheus, but only doing simple monitoring. But if something happen, any traffic spike or anomaly occurred or vulnerability occurs, so first we have to identify it. Then we have to follow some mitigation process. It may take up some take time for in this process. But in AI powered cloud native, we have implemented AI models which we have integrated in monitoring tools, which will monitor before any error occurred or any anomaly vulnerability entered. It detected automatically, but it also not only detected, but it also takes some steps to mitigate this risk. In that way, it also reduces the mean time to recover and mean time to detect. It also help in this way.
I will take that. Take that. You have to work on Al Razak Labs. This is very important for you because, you know, when you go and sit in an interview, these are the challenges the organizations are facing right now, right? And I was only able to scratch the surface with 10% of it because that is the scope of your exam. But the remaining 90% is locked into Al Razak, right? So you have access
Right.
to the new portal, right?
Yes, sir.
So go there and ask them, you have passed your exam. Anyone who passed their exam, and I'm going to talk about this today, what is, the new Al Razak program, what we're doing, so on and so forth. You will know everything. This is very important for you because that will give you information and, an understanding of what we're trying to do, right? You need to make sure that you follow it through and do all the labs because that will give you the confidence you need to crack any interview as it relates to this topic. This topic is very well versed and it's a very loaded topic, right? Okay. Would you like to know the results?
Sure, sir.
Okay. So in the presentation, you scored 20 out of 25. That's 80%, mashallah. Okay. In the Q&A, you scored, this is 5 and 5. Oh, hold on. 4, 5. Yes. And this one is 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, 7.5, 7. Okay. So, and in the Q&A, you scored 20.5 out of 25, right? So 82%. So your score total is 20 plus 20.5 divided by 50. It's coming to 81%. MashaAllah, you have passed your exam. That's very good. MashaAllah. Take a relief. Take it. Okay. All right. So this is good, MashaAllah. But that's not the end of your journey, right? So this is my recommendation for you. How old are you?
19.
At the age of 19, you are discussing with me all the things that are far beyond anyone's comprehension when it comes to cloud technologies and artificial intelligence, right? And your peers, all your friends, they have no clue what is happening. If you ask them about Kubernetes, what would they say? Is that a new cricket player? Right? They might say that. Or they might say, is that a new movie star or someone? I don't know. Right?
Yes, sir.
Right? So if you tell them K8, they might say, is that a new game we have to play? Like, there's a game that everyone talks about. I don't know what that is. Squid something? What is that?
Yes, sir.
Squid, what is Squid like? Right? I can't even catch up with the new generation. You're getting old, right? So they won't know, but you are at the edge right now among your peers, right? You have already completed your diploma in artificial intelligence operations. It took you 1 year and 3-4 months, right, to complete all of that in 15 months. Spend the next 6 months doing all the labs of Al Raza, inshallah, okay? And try to pass all the Kubernetes exams, right? Next year, February session, if you want to go outside, then if you want to plan to go outside and study in the US and Canada, we can assist you and help you with all of these things. I'm going to show you something which is very important for you, and I'm going to talk about this today as well, right? This is very important for everyone, okay? Anyone who passes our diploma, anyone who passes the following diplomas will be offered financial sponsorship. You are here, right? Okay. What this means is if you score passing any of the following qualification with merit or to distinction grade that is between 80 to 90% or above and maintain it. You did that, right? So you completed this requirement. Now you have to complete because your percentage is 81. You made it,
Yes, sir.
right? Now, obviously, this is uh, in your interview. The other presentation will be tallied as well, right? For the MCQs, but I'm concerned more about the interview, right? So you scored that, you did it, mashallah. Okay, so that's one thing. So now the only thing you need to do is complete the 80% of the Al Razak programs, right? Okay, this is very important. Complete the LinkedIn course. Secure a job in the market. After doing this, obviously, you'll be able to secure the job in the market. Attend the communication course as part of Al Razak, passing the IELTS academic exam. Start teaching. This is something that we will offer it to you because you'll be able to do that, inshallah. You will be able to take benefit of getting a sponsorship from us, and will also be able to take admission in a master's program in your case, right? Because you completed AI Ops in UK or remote, 10 to 25% scholarship. You can get that. Okay. If you want to do
Yes.
Islamic next generation scholar with HND and AI Ops, then you get 50 to 75% scholarship. But obviously, that is something different, right? You have to do that separately. All of the above requirements are required to be met to tap in all the benefits for a given diploma. So you have that thing, mashallah, on your side. All you need to do now is get the Al Razak program done. Get your updated resume, start applying for jobs. While going through the Al Razak program, you will be able to secure the job, inshallah. Okay. Your goal
Inshallah.
should be to complete in 2025. Make this as your resolution because Ramadan is upon us in a few days. Make this as a resolution that in 2025, I will be a QB astronaut, right?
Inshallah.
And next year, a Nafi will help me secure admission in a master's program. We will do that. you come in our own university, 10 to 15, 25% is on scholarship, only for those who get that score, right? So inshallah, you are there. And you will be able to secure a job and work in the industry, inshallah. That should be your goal. Okay? That is something that you should focus on. Don't waste time thinking, I have to pass this exam first before I go forward. I don't know why people do that, but they can pass the exam anyway, right? Inshallah, if they work hard enough in the labs, passing the exam will become a byproduct. You're working on the labs, you can ace any question that I'm going to ask you, right? That's the key thing, inshallah. So very good, mashallah. May Allah make it easy for you. If you have to meet any further requirements, we will let you know. Okay. Regarding all the things, hopefully your things will be submitted, inshallah, within this month or next month or whatever the case is. It will take us some time to issue you the diploma because we have to compile all the results and everything and submit it to the regulators, EduQual, and they will be, inshallah, able to issue you the diploma. What are your programs? What do you want to do?
Sir, actually, my plan is to apply for master's or bachelor top-up in UK if I can get admission.
Don't go right now. Have the preparation done. Complete the preparation because once you go there, you won't be able to study anything else apart from the university, right? If you have all the
Yes, sir.
skills, as soon as you complete your degree, they will give you the work permit, right? Once you have the work permit, the postgraduate work permit, as they call it, you'll be able to secure the job because you have the skills. If you go right now, you need to complete the Al Razak program. That's why I'm telling you, complete the Al Razak program first because studying here is easier as compared
Yes,
to
sir.
studying there. There you have to wash your dishes, cook your own food, take care of yourself, wake yourself up every morning. Here your parents, your brothers and sisters can wake you up, right? There you'll be opening your fast at the masjid. Trust me, I've opened my fast in the masjid for a long time. Right? You don't get a lot of food, right? You only get, some white rice with some curry on top. That's it. Those only on good days, on Friday. Remaining days, some dates, some water, that's it, right? So make some preparation right now. Do the preparation right now. Inshallah, you'll be able to secure yourself. If you go to US,
So should I apply for in January and take next 2026
February 2026, that
February?
is the time. Start applying for admissions. We will help you in securing the admission in basically during the time of July, August, right? That's the time. September, October, that's the time, right? For the next year, February session. But prior to that, right now in February, right? Next year, February, you have how many months do you have? 11 months, because February is already done, right? March, April, May, June, July,
Yes.
August, right? So you have time. Use this time to complete all the Al Razak requirements. Because if you do, you can pass any interview. Any interview, right? So if you go to UK right now, right? This is indeed.co.uk, right? Let me show it to you. You see this thing? If you go to UK right now, just type in DevOps. This is UK, right? DevOps architect, you can even apply for this job because you will have the experience, even as an architect, right? DevOps engineer, DevOps platform engineer, tool chain benchmarking, DevOps apprentice. This is like way below the line, right? You don't have to apply for that. That's too low, right? Because once you become a QB astronaut, right, the whole
Yes.
game changes. Global storage DevOps engineer, hybrid. This is at ARM processing, AWS DevOps engineer, right? DevOps engineer in 10 months FTC. So you will have a great role, inshallah, in doing all of these things. You have to make sure that you follow it through and get those things done because that's how much you'll be paid, inshallah. So my recommendation to you is You know, complete the exams. Complete the exams, and that will help you, inshallah. So CKAD, if you try that, right? Senior manager, cloud and container security, software engineer, three. This is something different. Lead software engineer, Google platform, managing whatnot, right? That will help you, inshallah. And even in artificial intelligence operations and sysops as well. So all these different areas, we will cover it for you. Because if you want to go to UK, you will be given, and the training, the Al Raza program that you will receive will be customized as per your goals and objectives. So if you want to go to UK, it will be targeting at least 15 different job titles of UK. So then when you go there, you say, okay, this is my resume. I want to work. You can do that. If you want to go to UK right now, you can go in September, but you have to do the preparation. Have everything under your belt right now. That's why I'm telling you, a few months is not going to make a big difference. September, February, doesn't make a big difference. September, October, November, December, 4 months, 5 months, right? But that 5 months is enough for you to pass all the exams. Get all the exams under your belt. Bismillah. So that when you go there, you're fully prepared, inshallah. Okay? Congratulations on passing the exam. Go and
Thank you,
complete
sir.
the requirements. May Allah give you more success in this dunya and akhirah, inshallah. Make dua, special dua for me. And today is the day you celebrate. Go and give some sadaqah in the path of Allah. Right? And be joyful that you have done something good. Take out your family and friends for food. Have a good time. Don't overspend. Enjoy, something economical. Alhamdulillah. Right? And may Allah give you more success, inshallah. Okay?
Okay. Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay. Jazakallah khair. The team will contact you for further discussion. Okay? Jazakallah khair.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Right.